So this is session 6 of If Only. And for the final session of the series, I want us to look at ourselves. Are we desperate enough about the state of the church, about the state of the world, that we are willing to seek to be renewed by God? Are we willing to get serious about seeking a time of renewal? There was an uneducated evangelist by the name of Gypsy Smith, and he would draw crowds, big crowds in his meetings, and people by the thousands would come to Jesus. And many were asking how such an uneducated man could draw the crowds like this. And his answer was, he wanted everyone to go home, kneel down on their floor, then draw a circle around themselves, and then pray for revival, and pray that revival started within that circle. These are times not for looking back at the familiar, but looking forward to what God has in store. In Isaiah 43:18-19 it says this, "Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the desert." Of course, he was talking to the people in exile about the miracle that he was going to perform in leading them out of exile. But God never changes. God is doing a new thing in our time, and we need to keep our eyes fixed on what he's doing. The people as slaves in Egypt, they didn't want to leave, even though they were slaves there and they were promised a promised land. Many of them, they just didn't want to leave, and often they would grumble to Moses and say, "Why did you bring us out here? We would have been much better off in Egypt where we had plenty to eat." But God was leading them to a land of milk and honey, a fertile land, a productive land. When they reached the Jordan River across from the promised land, they sent spies in to look at it. And the spies came back and said, "Yes, it is a very fertile land, but it's inhabited by these great giants. There's no way we can go in there." And they didn't want to go. We read in Numbers 14:2 that the Israelites grumbled against Moses, saying they would have been better off dying in Egypt. Caleb and Joshua were the only two of the spies who were willing to go into the land because they believed what God had promised them. And as it turned out, all the people who had seen the miracles of God at the Red Sea and through the desert never got to enter the promised land. Only Caleb and Joshua from that generation actually got to enter the promised land. And of course the miracle there was that God stopped the Jordan River in mid-springtime flood so that they had dry ground to walk across it. And then this Israelite army, day by day, facing the Philistines, but too scared, too afraid to fight the giant Goliath. And every day they'd line up in their battle order on one side, and the Philistines were on the other side, and Goliath went down into the valley in between them and challenged them. But they wouldn't move day after day until young David came along, and David, knowing the power of God, went to fight and defeated Goliath. Once that happened, the Philistines fled. And then the Israelites, who'd been so scared to do anything, took after them, and yelps and shouts of victory, and they raced and they chased them and they plundered the camp and so on. It raises an issue for us. Are we waiting for someone to start a revival, to win a great victory, and then we'll be very happy to join in because we know that we're on the winning team? Or are we willing to be the one who will step out in faith when all seems hopeless and be the means by which revival can come?
Be strong, for the Lord thy God is with thee. Be bold, be strong, for the Lord thy God is with thee. I am not afraid, I am not dismayed, because I'm walking in faith and victory, because I'm walking in faith and victory, for the Lord thy God is with thee. Be bold, be strong, for the Lord thy God is with thee. because I'm walking in faith and victory, because I'm walking in faith and victory.